Okay, thanks everyone for joining us today. Today we have Kathy Casey with us to talk about immunity and seasonal allergies. Take it away, Kathy. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, everybody, and happy Monday to you. I'm Dr. Casey, and I have a practice in Mamaroneck at Touchstone Acupuncture, and we talk a lot about immunity and seasonal allergies, especially this time of year. I thank you all for joining me this morning. And I had talked to Paul. If you have questions during the presentation, feel free to put them in the chat. And he's going to watch the gallery for me as well in the event that you have something that you want me to stop and re-clarify for you. But let's see how we can go through a good week in the month of April, managing some seasonal stuff and boosting our immunity. So I'm sure that these pictures look a little familiar to you, and certainly after the year that we've been through, we know about, or at least we're talking about, boosting immunity so that our body has a better ability to meet the pathogens that are floating around in the air or on the surfaces, right? I don't know how many of you are familiar with Chinese medicine, but I always start like this. We are always looking at how the influence of the outside environment and the seasonal changes impact the internal environment. So on the East Coast, at least in New York, there's spring, summer, fall, and winter, and different types of environmental changes are going to impact our body. And when we're talking about our body, it's not just our physical body, but it's the stressors we've been under, so our emotional body. And we're looking at the environment that we live in and the constitution that we were born with from our mom and dad, and how we have helped to manage that constitution over the course of our life. So on the left-hand side, this is just the transition from season to season. And then we're looking at the different impact of what we refer to as the elements. So there's the element of the earth, there's the element of water, of fire, and of air. And so in the Taoist philosophy upon which Chinese medicine is based, all of those seasonal changes and those environmental impacts affect us in some way, shape, or form. So we're always taking that into consideration when we're talking about patient care and self-care, because my body's different than Paul's, different than everybody else in the room today. And so the biggest thing I want you to think about is one size does not fit all in how we manage things. But today's presentation will be a general overview of everything that can help support the general population. So when patients present with symptoms in my office, it could be a sneeze or a cough or a dry cough or a wet cough or a headache that only comes in the morning or the night, or a backache or a wheezing or digestive disturbances. When we take a look at that, those symptoms are really the branches of the tree. And we're saying, you know what? All 15, 25, 10 of us could be in a room. We can all have a symptom, but the root cause of why our body is not reacting as well or is overreacting to something is really about where the root lies. And in Chinese medicine, this is what really we're focused on, to find the root of the disharmony, support the body, and prompt it so it can go back and do its best job. So when people come in and they say, I have a headache, I'm sneezing, let me take some Zyrtec, we're like, yeah, maybe we're going to talk about something else first. So in Chinese medicine, there's many layers of questioning, and there's also many layers of the perspective that we take when somebody comes in and reports something. Oh, I'm so fatigued. Oh, I always wake up at 3 a.m. Oh, I always feel really tired at 4 p.m. Oh, I can no longer tolerate a certain food. Oh, I feel whatever. In addition to what season it is, And in addition to what you're reporting from a symptom standpoint, we also overlay it with our infamous 24-hour medicine clock. In Chinese medicine, there's pairs of organ systems that work together. And so every 2 hours, there's another organ system that is in its strength or in its weakness. So everything that you tell me, I put this on top of it. Oh, I'm always waking up at 3 a.m. Oh, I'm so tired at 4 p.m. All of this gives us another little data point so that we can better triage how to support you, as opposed to your neighbor, as opposed to your spouse, as opposed to your children. So we're always trying to refocus an individualized approach to the person who has the symptoms, right? You're not a symptom and you're not a disease or disharmony. You're a person and you're manifesting some messages from the body, and this will help us to refine how we respond to it. So, and you can hear it in my voice already. There's pollen all over the place. We are definitely in pollen season, and this is a joyful time because finally we're coming out of winter, which was cold and kind of closed in. And now the yang of the earth, all of this energetic is reaching up. And we have flowers and we have more flowers and we have leaves. Puts a lot of stuff in the air. One of the ways that we deal with that, and this is kind of the focus of today, is to teach patients how to go home and help manage their own symptoms. Because in Chinese medicine, we're really doing a partnership. We're not in charge of you, and we don't know better than your body does. But the more information you shift and share with us, the better we are to target how to be helpful. So in boosting immunity, well, let me go back for 30 seconds. So seasonal allergies, people say, oh, I have allergies, I have allergies. When we look at that from a Chinese medicine perspective, what that says to us is that your body is doing a great job of being responsive to the pathogens that are in the air or in the environment. But what happened is the body forgot to turn itself off. So an immune response, a healthy immune response for any of us is watery eyes, especially if there's something floating around in the air. Why? Because we want to keep pathogens out of our eyes. A runny nose, not necessarily a negative. This is your body's prompting to say, hey, there's things out there and I want to keep the nasal passages clear. And in that clear phlegm that's running out, it makes sure that there's no pathogens coming into the body, right? So this is from the head up is really where you find the most response to outside external pathogens. Why? Because this is where all the openings are to get in. So you'll find here's watery eyes, here's a scratchy throat, here's a runny nose, here's some postnasal drip. Everything, celebrate this in the beginning. Everything is about your body doing its best job to keep you well, okay? So we go acupuncture, and this doesn't show the whole body, but in acupuncture, which is where the acupressure points come from, those points are actually not, they're all subscribed here. We find them via anatomical locations. So it's not like I need to be seen invisible, although I wish I could change invisible once in a while, and I wish I had that much seen inside the body. But what we're doing is we're just following highways along the body. And at particular points, you could think about this as we're either on 95 and we're going to go down to Florida, or we're on Route 1 and we could still go to Florida or Maine, right? Those are the ancillary roads. That's what the body runs on. There's all these highways going up and down. And when there's a problem in one location of the body, let's say we have a backup and congestion in Mamaroneck on 95, but we're still demonstrating that there's a problem and there's no, and it's backed up all the way to Greenwich. Where's the problem? Is it Greenwich or is it Mamaroneck? Or is it the whole line here? And if we just move that car that had a flat tire over in Mamaroneck, then everything from Greenwich down starts moving again, right? So that's the same with the body. Where the problem is showing is not necessarily where we're going to be going from an acupressure or an acupuncture standpoint to solve the problem. And the first 2 points that we're going to talk about, Tai Chang and Hagu, are going to demonstrate that beautifully. So let's say we have a stuffy nose, or let's say we have a headache because there's sinus pressure and it's all coming. The first 2 points that we're going to use are actually at the foot and the hand. And I did also advise Paul that at the end of this program, I'll be downloading a PDF that Paul will be able to have available for all the attendees here. So you won't have to remember all of this. So on my left-hand side anyway, Tai Chang, which is liver 3, the point between the first and second toe. You can see if you can find that on you. And this is a pretty good indication. But Tai Chang is the mother point of the liver, how we refer, and it helps to move, has a very powerful impact to move the qi throughout the body. When we pair it with Hagu, which is on the right-hand side here, this large intestine 4, and I'm going to show you how to, I didn't do this well the last time. Let me see if I could do it better this time. If you look at your hand and you hold the first finger and the thumb together, you see where we're going to, wait. You see where the crease is? At the base of that crease, the pressure point is against the bone. It's not in the web. It's at the end of the crease against the bone. So being able to stimulate, one day I'm going to get all this mirror stuff right in the camera, but being able to stimulate this point, hold it for a count of 5 seconds, release. Hold it for a count of 5 seconds, release. You could do that on one hand, and then stimulation between the first and second toe on your foot. This helps to open up the head. This Hagu, this is the master point of the head and face. We use this for sinus congestion. We use this for headaches. We use this for a little bit of wake up in the morning. Those 2 points together, they're called the 4 gates, because in needling, we would needle the 2 on the feet and the 2 on the hand. And all of a sudden, everybody's saying, wow, there's stuff moving through me. But you can do that just by stimulating it here. Does anybody have any questions? Because I can't see the chat either, so I apologize for that.
No questions at this moment.
Okay. So the next 2 points that we're going to go see, these are boosting the immunity through the stomach channel. So everything's going to help to contribute to moving qi, moving blood, moving fluids in the body. And all of that together is boosting immunity, right? There's just not one way to do it. We look at the body as there is fluid in different viscosities, moving all the time. And if it does not move in the way that it was made to move, then stagnation will occur, blockages will occur. This isn't as big as a tumor. This could be, I'm too stuffy here and I need to do some stimulation. But on these 2 points, which is on the forefront between the knee and the ankle, this is the stomach channel. The stomach highway starts underneath the eyes, runs all the way down the body, all the way down the legs, and it ends at the second toe. And the reason that the stomach channel is so important for stimulation is because this we say this is the strongest meridian, the strongest highway of chi, and it carries the most chi and blood in the body. So the way that you locate things on the body, always patient and person dependent. So my measurements fit my body. Your measurements are going to fit your body. This is how you're going to go. See on one of the points, it says Zusan Li. It has a little red dot there, and it says ST36, that's stomach 36. This is a point on the body. When it's stimulated, actually propagates the initiation of more red and white blood cells in the body. It's craziness, right? If you take your four fingers and you go to the eye of your knee and you put that first finger at the top of, in that eye of the knee, that fourth finger is going to, at the edge of the fourth finger on the bottom, which is probably your pinky finger, right off the bone there, that's going to be your stimulation point for Zusan Li. Zusan Li translates to leg 3 miles. And this is a very, very famous point in Chinese medicine. They used to stimulate it for the soldiers on the battlefield. And they would needle it, stimulate it, and say, okay, you can fight for another 3 miles. Or at least that's the story we were told. So I'm going to say, I'll just share the story with you. Whether it's true or not, I can't really ascertain. But this point here, we moxa it. We use a dried mugwort on it to increase heat there. Because if the stomach channel is cold, then digestion is also impacted. So immunity, the base of immunity in the body is that things are moving the way they're supposed to, that the regulation of sleep and eat and bowel movements is regular and occurs on a regular basis, because that is boosting immunity too. So in no way, shape, or form is there like some magic point that's gonna keep the flu away from you if you don't have other good practices involved. But all of these acupressure points can help stimulate and prompt your body to do its better job. The other point in the middle of the lower limb, this is stomach 40. This is a point of accumulation of phlegm. So a lot of times people with stuffy noses, sinus headaches, this point can also be stimulated. And again, the stimulation is not pounding. The stimulation is pressure, 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 release. Pressure, 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 release. You can even do some rubbing in the area. All of these points, especially the ones with the red dot in them today, these are the points on a highway, just like 95, right? If you did it on the bottom here and your neighbor is stimulating on the top here, don't worry about it. The preciseness is not as important as the generalized location for how you find that, right? So if you're looking, I can't get up and demonstrate on my leg, but does anybody have a problem finding these two spots on their leg? The first one is going to be down from the eye of your knee. If you put your four fingers like this and the first one touches the eye of the knee, it'll be down at the base of that fourth finger. Past that point, you can come down another 4 to 5 fingers, but it's along the whole highway. So even if you are able to stimulate that whole highway, you can be helpful to yourself. So now I'm going to see. Okay. Am I looking at Am I looking at, nobody has a question right now, right? I just figured out how to find the
Actually,
chat.
Kathy, someone does.
Okay.
Someone wants to know, does it matter which hand or foot, meaning left or right hand?
Oh, a great question. No, it does not. Does not matter. So now I'm getting better at technology, I think. But now I just changed the page, didn't I? When I went to move the chat. Sorry about that. The next point that we're looking at also in a lower leg. And so let me just address that one more time. Everything is bilateral. So if we're talking about the right hand for Hagu or the left leg for Zusan Li, everything is bilateral. It's like a mirror. So you could do the left side, right hand stimulation, or the right side with left hand stimulation, however good it works for you. This particular point, Sanyin Jiao, this is the crossing point of 3 yin. Spleen 6, very, very important in our medicine. It has implications for moving fluids, which include blood and all the other thin fluids that help to lubricate our body, that help to lubricate our limbs. It also has an impact for digestion, and it also has an impact for calming the mind. And the way that you find this, again, those 4 famous fingers, which is 3 sun in our how we count, those same 4 fingers that you used to hook into the eye of your knee now can be used from the interior of your malleolus, from that inside the ankle bone. Put one of your fingers, the bottom finger, on the inside of your ankle bone and up 4 fingers. You're going to find that. And typically this location, this area is very tender on people. Massage it. Love it like it's your little baby or your favorite puppy. Again, what's that acupressure? Push in against the bone, count for 5, release. Push in gently against the bone, release. Another thing that you can do to boost immunity, and I'm just going to go backwards for a second. You see these, this stomach highway, right? This is on the lateral side of your knee, the outside of your knee. You can also boost immunity by smoothing, massaging down on the outside of this, and then coming up the medial side of your leg, which is where this point is. And you can do that again and again, down on the outside from the knee to the ankle, and then from the ankle to the knee, massage up on the inside. This is an easy Qigong move, but it helps to reset digestion. It helps with nausea. So some of us, if we're going to be having any flu or cold symptoms, might get hit with some nausea. So wait, I see Ginger has a question. Is that true?
I think someone says I have a problem with Charlie horse pain in my legs. Will stimulating these areas improve or lessen my experiences?
That I can't, that is not about immunity. There's something else that's contributing to Charlie horse legs. You can certainly do lower leg massage. The reason that we go down on the outside and up on the inside is because this is the way of the stomach and spleen channels, which help with digestion, and digestion helps with immunity. But my experience with Charlie horse issues personally, and also with my patients, is there can be either a gait issue, meaning how you walk, how you stand. There could be inhibited leg muscles, which need a different type of massage release. So that's hard for me to answer, to give you a result today. But Charlie horse issues are not uncommon in practice. What you might be able to try for that is soaking your feet in very warm water with a minimum of 2 cups of Epsom salt, which is magnesium, and have your foot and lower limb at least past your ankle bone to this 3 or 4 inch area that spleen 6 shows. Does anybody have another question before I go forward?
We're okay for now.
Okay. So the next 2 points are really about the upper body in being able to clear things in the back. This particular point where the red points are, this is feng qi. This is also known as the gates of wind and the gates of phlegm. And the way that I teach patients to find them is if you put your hands over your ears, typically your thumbs will come right back here and they will find those 2 openings in the occiput area. A lot of times these are very tender on people. The reason for that is, and again, here's the body doing its best work to keep us healthy and happy. The back of the body is the body's defense place. So in Chinese medicine, we say wind. This is a pathogen because it's driving things towards us. The muscles at this area will clamp down to hold a pathogen in there so that nothing can come in. I know it sounds like crazy, but this is the story. So the muscles get very tense there. And you can actually have a headache that shows here that is really related to back here. But anybody have tenderness in there right now? Because now we're going to start to go and investigate our whole head. I want you to make a good habit of rubbing your head almost on a daily basis, because wherever there's muscle up there, right? And so just like my example before of, okay, we're going to have an accident in Mamaroneck, but we're sitting in Portchester and we're not moving. What's happening here? We can do something in Portchester, can't we? We can get off and get on Route 1 if we're near the exit. We can come down Route 1. We can go over to the hutch. There's different ways to clear up that stasis. So there is too in the body. So if you're tender back here, you could start going in an opposite place. You could start going in the opposite place. And this will tell the body, which is an entirely closed system, hey, I have a little shift going on. And you can prompt your body to make that shift. But this area here, if we're able to stimulate it on a regular basis, that gives the body more wherewithal to, oh yeah, I'm going to release. I'm going to stop and release. I'm going to stop and release. Because typically the headaches come like this. So you can go even and see if your eyebrow locations are tender. And a lot of times they are. Here's another part of the highway. It's above the ear, about 2 fingers above the ear. Same highway as back there. People are typically tender there as well. So what I want to encourage you is to do everything you want, touching parts of your body, whether they're listed here or not. And if they're a little tender or if they're sore, just rub them, because this is going to stimulate a little bit of blood flow in the area. This is going to encourage it. Oh yeah, someone's paying attention to me today. This point right here in the middle of the chest, this is the gathering point of chi. This helps us to expand, take in a deep breath, let it go. This is a great point to tap or do acupressure or rub it. It's right here in the sternum, and you can usually feel when you come down from the clavicle into the center here, there's kind of a little ridge on most people. That's right where that point is. But remember, don't get hung up on, oh my God, I'm a half an inch off. What's going to happen? Don't worry about that. You're in the zone, you're in the space. It's good. Stimulation here. This is talking about not only what we're taking in from the environment with all the pollen or with all the smoke, it's what we're taking in from the TV, from our neighbors, from our community gatherings. We want to keep this area clear. And Chinese medicine is not, when we go to school to learn everything, we have to learn all the Western medicine too, right? So I better know where my sternum is and where my clavicles are. And, oh, that's an anterior deltoid. But there's a whole other layer, multiple layers of Taoist philosophy, which is not a religion, it's just a philosophy, that everything is connected to everything else. And I think given the past year, maybe we're starting to recognize that in the midst of a global pandemic, right? But that means what we're taking in, whether it's in the air or whether it's on our CNN or ABC News or even the shows that we watch, even the conversations that we have, they're residing here in our gathering point of chi. So if it is polluted or if it is not able to move freely, we're not going to be able to expand ourselves. Following this Ren 17, this gathering point of chi on our sternum, we come up to our lung points. So the lung points, if you come over from your clavicle, right where your acromion, the top of your shoulder meets, this is a lung point. And you could see two lung points right at each other, right? A stimulation like this, pressure rubbing, and a focus of breath work clears these right up. And look at everything that we're looking at, with the exception of the stomach highway, which kind of grounds us to the floor, to the earth. Everything else is up here, right? Because this is how pathogens come in. This is how the pollen's going to get us. This is how a virus or a bacteria floating someplace, either through our mouth, through our eyes, through our nose. So we're looking, as soon as the body recognizes that, we're asking it to get in there, go release it. Get in there, go release it now. Help me to breathe deeper. This is also for anybody who's been in a lot of Steve Qigong classes, you will recognize this kind of motion, right? On the top of the trapezius, in the lung area, we are looking to move things. So disharmony comes when something's stuck. And always a symptom is going to be, hey, this is just a messenger. Let's not freak out about this. Our nose should be running if there's pollen in the air. Our eyes should be watery, but the body should be able to figure out how to clear that up and then bring us back to homeostasis, right? This little point, yin tang, right in the middle here. This clears our mind. This helps also move fluids, and you can even go over to the medial side. You can even touch along the whole eyebrow because there's sinus cavities behind that. Any kind of pressure around here, gentle. And I could see Helen, she's rubbing that. Other people are touching. However you feel this self-soothing is what your body wants to do. So I want everybody to always feel comfortable within their own body. Your body knows it's never going to let you down if you listen to it and respond. Okay. So now we're going to go to herbs, because herbal medicine is something that's so fascinating to me, and I love the study of it. My training is in the Materia Medica of Chinese herbals, which all of these here are. So when some people ask me questions about supplements or other things, that's not what I can speak about information, but I can't really speak with authority about them. So we'll give you some herbs. Here's the great thing about Chinese herbal medicine. It's mostly food, and we can figure out, instead of popping a pill or a capsule, we can incorporate food. So the up my left, Lingjur, the reishi mushroom, the mushroom of immortality. Why do we like this guy so much? Reishi mushrooms contain beta glucans, and they stimulate different types of cells in the immune system to help you fight infection. So you can find reishi mushroom in a powder form. You can find it in a tea form. It's good to incorporate in your daily life without going overboard. But I also just like mushrooms to eat in their full flesh form. Shiitake mushroom, the elixir of life. And what I wanted to show you was what it looks like in nature, and then how you can use it in a preparation. The shiitake mushrooms are awesome. They have viral and bacterial qualities, meaning they fight viruses and bacteria. They can, number one, activate the immune system. Number two, they're good and used for cholesterol lowering and blood pressure management. They can support healthy bowel function. They are used, as almost all mushrooms are, for anti-tumor qualities. And shiitake especially has liver protective qualities as well. Then we have renshen, which is known as ginseng in English. The reason I put ashwagandha here, ashwagandha is another adaptogenic herb, which means there are certain herbs that help the body support its immune system, help the body do what it does best, okay? So we're not adding to something as much as we are bringing in the troops so that the body can reset itself. But the reason I put ashwagandha in here is many people have asked me that question. So it is in the same genus as renshen and ginseng, but it is not the same family. Okay, why? Because it grows in a different place. But ginseng is known, renshen is known as the king of all herbs. And I want you to see a little bit of differential here. If you look at the reishi mushroom and how we use that, it's in its dried quality, or shiitake where we're using it for food. You'll see renshen, doesn't it look like a person? I don't know if you can appreciate the renshen, the ginseng. We use the root. So here's something. We're using stuff from the earth that grows in the earth or grows close to the earth, right? Because we are made of the earth. So again, this is how Chinese medicine works. So things that come from roots and below ground help to solidify what we already have going on in us. Ginseng, all of these, the mushrooms can be utilized without intervention of an herbalist. I would definitely find a trained herbalist to figure out how you want to be using ginseng in your daily life, because you can overuse it. And but it's great. It actually, I'm sorry, I put my notes on the screen today and they didn't come up, so I'm reading over here. But one of the beautiful things about renshen and ginseng is that it strengthens the HPA axis. What does that stand for? Hypothalamic, pituitary, and adrenal. So all of those organs within our bodies are working together to mitigate stress or help the body be adapting to stress on a regular basis. So if you're looking for something that can help the body adapt to the daily stressors. And I'll tell you, as New Yorkers, we just think that how we live is normal. And sometimes we're a little too stressed out. Next page. I just wanted you to see these because Jin Yin Hua and Lian Chao. Some people might be familiar with Yin Chow. You'll hear a lot of people saying, oh, I'm going to go on Amazon and order some Yin Chow because I feel a cold coming on. Jin Yin Hua and Lian Chow, see them, honeysuckle flowers and forsythia fruit, all of these flowers that are up here. What do they help with? The top of the body. Stuffy nose, runny eyes, they're all the floweries. So we use these to help clear up sinuses. We use these to mitigate the impact of the things that are flying around in the air. So it's not the same as homeopathy, but it's kind of in the same thing. We use what is irritating us to help the body fix itself. And then astragalus down here, Huang Qi, the picture in the middle is actually from the roots, and that's what we use medicinally. But look at how beautiful that herb is. It helps to combat stress. It's also an adaptogenic. So there's many herbs that come from the earth that help the body instead of telling it what to do, like a Xanax. We're going to ask the body, hey, remember this guy, Wang Qi? He's your friend. You remember Ren Shen? He's your friend. And then the body says, oh, I know what to do with these components. Garlic and ginger. These are more Chinese herbs, believe it or not. Why are we using them? Garlic, antibacterial, antiviral, antimicrobial, natural decongestant. Research has been done and it indicates that it can be used to fight the common cold. So does that mean that you should take 50 garlic capsules a day prophylactically? Please do not do that. From a thermal nature, garlic is very warming. It'll annoy the rest of your body. So when we're trying to, but Kathy, how do we implement all of this stuff? One thing at a time. So you cook with garlic, that's enough, right? Ginger. Ginger is a very powerful antihistamine and also a decongestant. It also has antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral qualities. If we were in a biochemistry class, I'd be giving you all that data, but you don't really need to know it, right? But has everybody ever went to buy ginger? This is kind of what it should look like. It should be nice and firm with no fungus growing on it. And you do want to peel the skin off of it. I love ginger. It's nice and pungent. But you can also find these in teas, which I'll talk about in a little later. Echinacea. Everybody always hears about this, but it's a beautiful coneflower, and this is what it looks like in nature. Elderberry, used, both of them also, antiviral, antioxidant, antihistamine. Both of them can be used to boost the immune system. Does that mean drown yourself in elderberry syrup? It does not. And actually, you really don't want the syrup so much as you want the lozenges or a little bit of that in some tea, because it'll help you. But it won't help you if this is the first day that you started digging your well for wellness, okay? So there's not one remedy on the planet that can help us if we don't also have good foundations of sleep, nutrition, exercise. Here's some foods to avoid, especially for those with seasonal allergies. So I'm not demonizing any of these foods, but what we do know, and this is really just for the seasonal allergies, dairy products create heaviness within the body. We refer to that as dampness or phlegm. Wheat can also feed inflammation. So you could be inflamed from some pollen. Now we're going to eat our toast and have our Fritos for a snack. And then we're going to have some beer later. Doesn't always, or wine or vodka, whatever it is. But in a time when your body's already feeling a little bit under the weather, dairy products usually are not your friend. Wheat is not your friend. Eggs have been shown to have a inflammatory response in a lot of people who don't recognize it, but I'm a big proponent of eggs. So these is just in a little seasonal time. Use your best judgment. There's no food rules here. But here are some foods to include if you want to be boosting your immune system. Vitamin C rich foods, and these go the gamut, right? From leafy greens to citrus to broccoli. Actually, cauliflower could have been there too, but we didn't want to overwhelm you with a lot of stuff. Real food, that's what we're looking at. Antioxidant rich foods. What's interesting is beta carotene, which is vitamin A, helps to support respiratory health, but it also helps to support bowel health. And in Chinese medicine, the lungs and the large intestine are a team. So I always find it interesting that I can find a correlation from what Western, and God bless them, Western conventional medicine has done research on, and then how it correlates to Chinese medicine. Here's some magnesium rich foods. See, spinach keeps showing up, right? And again, you'll get a copy of this in a PDF form. And quercetin. What the heck is quercetin? Quercetin is a powerful antioxidant, and it helps, again, make sure that there's no free radicals running around in your body. It helps clean up free radicals. Oh, but I don't like tomatoes, or I'm allergic to apples. Just don't eat them then. But this is just a small indication of things that you can add to your daily life. Sleep is the #1 most important component of boosting and building and maintaining immunity, because this is when the body is able to do its best repair work. And there's all different levels of sleep. So you could have light sleep, REM sleep, deep sleep. And typically, a person will cycle through 1 or 2 or even 3 events during the course of the night. So I'm not the sleep expert, but I just want to address the question that people ask me. Well, I'm always waking up at a certain time. And it's not so bad to be waking up at that time. The question is, are you able to get back to sleep after a period of time? And I think the more that we can undo the belief that everyone should be sleeping 8 hours solid, and that's the only way to feel rested, that's not really true. And there's been plenty of sleep studies that have shown that. But having a good sleep hygiene, as we refer to it, is probably the most important lifestyle change that we can all practice. Going to bed at a regular time every night, re-educating your body, sleep when it's dark, get up when it's light. You'll see people's sleep patterns will change during the seasons, right? Because there's going to be more light, more activity, more things going on. I'm not a big proponent of any kind of sleep aids, with the exception of maybe adding magnesium. I don't even really like to talk about melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone. It's adding it to the body. I don't really know what's in all of those capsules that we can find on many shelves other places. What I do suggest is that you keep a sleep journal for yourselves. Find out what you're eating or drinking on a regular basis. Don't beat yourself up. Let's just see if we can find a pattern of behavior. Doing some breath work, easy breath work, practicing some of, or staying on track with Steve Goldstein's Qigong on a regular basis will also help support your sleep. But you don't have to have 8 hours of sleep in order to be a healthy human being who's functioning. But you do need regular rhythms of cycles of light and deep and REM sleep. This cleans out your brain. We're learning more and more about that. It's not just 8 hours, it's how we sleep. Essential oils are part of my practice, and they're part of the milieu of wellness in this day and age. And they're certainly easy to get your hands on. Organic ones are the ones that I prefer my patients to source out. But all of these, lavender, frankincense, chamomile, sandalwood, a mixture of some of them. The best way to use essential oils is typically through breathing them in. So I suggest putting a couple of drops on a cotton ball. You can kind of breathe that in. It already impacts your brain in a positive way. You can use some of these in a carrier oil. That could be coconut oil, that could be jojoba oil. You really should not be putting essential oils directly on your body because you can have some skin sensitivity. But tea tree oil, this is also known as melaleuca for some people that might be familiar with that. And then herbal teas, and a lot of these are available. One of my favorite tea places, I don't use yogi tea, but that's a good source as well. I use the traditional medicinals because they're based in Chinese medicine. And you can find them in Whole Foods. You can find them online on Amazon, traditional medicinals. But licorice is good. Peppermint is good. Green tea is good. It's high in caffeine. This is one of the few ones here with caffeine in it. Any kind of berry tea, nettle, stinging nettle, perfect for seasonal allergies. Rooibos, this is a beautiful, beautiful red tea. Ginger, good for settling the stomach, also good antihistamine and decongestant. And that's my story. Questions?
Yes, we got a few questions in the chat.
Okay.
Can forsythia flowers be used? They are plentiful right now. I guess they want to go pick the flowers from their yard and use it.
Use it as a tea?
I was earlier when you're talking about the forsythia.
Yes.
Okay.
So one of our herbs is from the forsythia fruit, and we use that combined with other herbs for a cold and flu medicinal called yin chow. I would not boil down my forsythia flowers. No. I just wanted you to see that all of the herbs come from things that you probably recognize, not a compendium of pharmacy that somebody created. It's really from nature. I'm sorry if I confused that, but I don't think I'm answering that question, right?
I'm not sure. Let's answer some more questions. Maybe we can come back to that. There's a lot of questions here.
Okay.
Why do you want to peel the skin of ginger?
Because it's a little tough to eat. I prefer it peeled. Have you used it without peeling it?
Here, let me have if she wants to.
That's Dana.
Speak. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to stop the recording here. And
Sure.